ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. Today happens to be the Gita Jayanti also. All over the world, people are organizing special events to spread the message of Bhagavad Gita. So this is a very special day for all of us who have been following this path for the last more than 1 year. So we shall continue on our journey of chapter 16. But before that, I'll just try to say a few words that this message of Bhagavad Gita was given in a very, special situation. I don't know any message which was given on the battlefield like this. The battlefield is the what you call the highest, you know, or the most profound activity which human being can perform is on the battlefield where his own life is at stake. So that is a climax. And this message was given at that particular moment to Arjun. So this message carries a very profound meaning because this was given to a person who is deeply engaged in the world, who is deeply entrenched and putting his life at stake. And therefore, this message is very practical for all those who are engaged in the world. While remaining engaged, how we can regulate our conduct on day-to-day basis is the crux of Bhagavad Gita. Whether it is in terms of understanding the what you call the existence, understanding the individual being, who am I, and then understanding the duties which we are required to discharge in the you know in the process of our existence in this world. Then how we can modify, how we can purify our conduct while discharging this duty. So that is one of the greatest message uh, which has been given to mankind. And I personally believe that this is the most practical message given by any religious scripture anywhere in the world. So we should, pay our respect to Bhagavad Gita on this special day, and particularly to Lord Krishna, who enabled us to understand the meaning of life and how to, regulate our conduct in a what you call pure and delightful manner. While enjoying the life in the world, we can still remain deeply, in union with the Supreme. So now we'll start our, chapter 16. We'll continue further on those verses which were not covered so far. I think today we are going to complete this chapter. So we'll take the verse number 20 first. हे अर्जुन, वे मूढ़ मुझको न प्राप्त होकर जन्म जन्म में आसुरी योनि को प्राप्त होते हैं, फिर उससे भी अति नीच गति को प्राप्त होते हैं और घोर नरकों में पड़ते हैं. Now, these people who remain engaged in asuri conduct, this has been described in various verses before. But as I would like to reiterate again, this conduct starts with the foundation that there is no supreme regulator in the world. The birth is an accident, and we are free to do whatever we feel like. So fulfill your desires, do everything to, you know, to do the desire satisfaction process, remain engaged, and don't worry about anything else. Such persons do not believe in the theory of karma, that they will reap the harvest of their own karmas in the future, and therefore they do not bother about good conduct, they do not bother about ethical conduct, they do not consider what is good, what is bad. All those issues are behind them. So that is why these people engage in asuri conduct. The second reason for engaging in asuri conduct are the three foundations which Lord Krishna mentioned before, that is Dong, Man, and Abhiman. So, those people who try to pretend what they are not, those people who have ego, whether it is false ego or whether it is uh, ego based on their situation, and those people who have become arrogant. These three variety of people uh, constantly remain engaged in asuri pravarti. And these people, Lord Krishna is saying, that such people, they do not unite with me. They do not become one with me. They keep rotating in this world again and again. And every time they come, they are born in a worse situation. Now, Asuri Yoni, if you are conducting yourself in despicable manner, constantly being selfish to yourself, constantly trying to satisfy your desires, in that situation, naturally, your next birth will not be in a higher category, it will be in a lower category. And that is why Lord Krishna has said, कि नीच गति को, that you continue to degrade yourself. Now, here there are variety of views. And नीच gati could be in the human race itself, or it could be in some other species of life. But actually, if you are born in a very lower status in the human race, you suffer much more than an animal. You must have seen people who live on the roadside. Even in the winter, they don't have enough clothing, they don't have enough food to eat, they don't have, of course, medical facilities, so they suffer from illnesses. So, this kind of suffering, which is physical plus mental suffering because of their status in the society, they suffer tremendously. This suffering is much worse than the suffering of an animal. Animal, somehow or the other, is able to manage its food, it is able to have freedom, which is easily available to most animals. And therefore, and the nature provides them certain protections. Like the animals will grow longer hair in winter so that they protect themselves automatically. They don't need extra protection. So that kind of natural protection is available to animals, but not to humans who are born in degraded, state. And that is why I believe that when Lord Krishna is referring to Neech Gati, my interpretation is that it could be in a very pitiable condition as human being, where you are actually suffering much more than an animal. So this is the kind of suffering we are subjected to if we continue to remain in asuri behavior, if our conduct is not ethical, if our conduct is not based on what the saints have told us, if our conduct is designed to hurt and harm others, then these consequences are expected. Now, these kind of wordings sometimes are questioned by some people, particularly people from other religions. They believe that the God is all kind. He does not actually punish people. He cannot punish people. It is absolutely true that God is all kind. He does not punish people. But this punishment is an automatic process in the rule of law, which is actually part of the natural process. Like if you throw a stone upwards, naturally it comes down because of the gravitational force. It comes down. The water, when you put it down, it automatically flows downwards because that is the nature of the water. When you heat the water, it automatically goes up, it becomes vapor, and it goes upwards. That is a natural process. So there are variety of laws in the nature. One of the laws is the karma siddhant, the law of karma. And according to that law, you are reborn in despicable state. If your conduct in this birth is not good, then the next birth you will be, made to suffer in a very pitiable condition. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying in verse number 20. Now verse number 21. काम क्रोध तथा लोभ ये तीन प्रकार के नरक के द्वार आत्मा को नाश करने वाले अर्थात उसको अधोगति में ले जाने वाले होते हैं। अतएव इन तीनों का त्याग कर देना चाहिए। नाउ दिस इज वेरी फंडामेंटल थिंग। काम, क्रोध एंड लोभ, desires, anger and greed. Now these are great enemies, and these enemies arise from the previous three, that is uh, ahankar, ego, and arrogance, dong, or you can say pretending a very, different conduct. So these three are originating from there. Because of the ego and arrogance, you feel that you are master of everything and all your desires should be fulfilled. So you have this tendency to fulfill your desires, that is calm. It could be sexual desire, it could be any other desire. Calm is a wider word which covers all the desires, all that you want to do. And then when these desires are not fulfilled, or if there's a hurdle on the way, then you become angry. And then if the desires are fulfilled, then you want to have more desires. You become greedy. They grow in geometric progression. So these are some of the fundamental characteristics of a person of Asuri conduct. Now it is very easy to actually, control these three, calm, crodh, and lobh. If we take the first lesson in geography and first lesson in biology, then it would be much easier for us to, exercise control over these three, hurdles, calm, crodh, and lobh. So let me talk a little bit about the first lesson in geography and then the first lesson in biology. The first lesson we take in geography is that this universe is infinite. It has no beginning, no end. Nobody knows where it begins, nobody knows where it ends. You see a horizon, and once you reach that horizon, a new horizon appears, and it's what you call infinite. That is one. And in this infinite universe, you have infinite number of galaxies. Some people say trillions of galaxies, but actually that is only a indication to tell us that there's some number. But there are actually infinite number of galaxies. The galaxies are very large bodies. Each galaxy has millions, billions of stars. Each galaxy, billions of stars. And each star has its own what you call system. So in the galaxy which is closest to us, there is solar system. Now solar system is one of the small systems of the billions of systems in this galaxy. And in the solar system, as we know, there are total of 9 planets, including the sun. So there are 8 planets. And the sun, which actually appears very close, but it's actually 15 crore kilometers away from the earth. And it regulates our life from there. On the earth itself, if you look, there are billions of, in fact, billions of species, or rather, I would say there are at least 80 million species, 80 lakh species of life. There are variety of life in the sea. There's variety of life on earth. There is variety of life in the space. So you see so many varieties of life. The human race is one of them. And human race is, we can say today there are 8 billion people in the world. So if you assess yourself in this whole universe, you are not even equal to a smallest particle of dust. In this infinite universe, where there are infinite galaxies, each galaxy having billions of stars, each star having its own system. We have one small little system called solar system. And even there, the sun is 15 crore kilometers away from us. Even on this earth, which is absolutely nothing in this universe, each what? It's having so many species of life, and we are one of them. And still we feel that we are the master of this universe. This is a foolish idea. We should abandon this idea. We should give more attention every day to the first lesson of geography, to know that we are our own real status in this universe. We are not even equal to a smallest particle of dust, and therefore there is no reason that we should become arrogant. So this arrogance will slowly reduce if we keep thinking about this first lesson of geography. Now let us take the first lesson of biology. If we look at our own being, our own body system, our own biology, the scientists will tell you that there are billions and billions of cells in your body. Some say trillions of cells. And each cell has its independent existence but is still communicating with the rest of the cells. In the human brain, there are trillions of neurons which are independent but still connected to each other, communicating with each other. If we look at our own body system, we feel hungry. We do not make ourselves hungry. We become hungry automatically. Somebody makes us hungry. Then we eat food. The food is automatically digested. We don't do anything to digest it. The digestion system works on its own. And the food we eat, bread or juice or fruits, whatever we eat, converts into blood, flesh, skin, neurons, bones, whatnot. There's no machinery in this universe which can do that. So look at the magnificence of this machinery sitting inside us. The whole human body, the blood circulation, they say that it's approximately 1 lakh kilometers a day. Some people, some scientists tell you that the liver system produces so many varieties of chemicals, so many varieties of different you can agents which are not even known to the human race till today. There's no question of producing them outside. You know, many specialists, a person who has been what you call eye specialist, ophthalmologist all his life, he doesn't understand even the proper functioning of the eye. Ask him genuinely in a quiet moment, he will tell you that he knows very little about the functioning of the eyes. So the human biological system is so complex. We do nothing. We do nothing to sleep. Our sleep comes automatically. Our hunger comes automatically. The body system digests our food automatically. The blood is formed automatically. The stool is discharged. The body tells you to go to the toilet and discharge the waste. All these things are happening automatically because of some regulatory power which is operating in our own being. So if we realize that our power is nothing, what we do, we just have ego, nothing else. So if we keep meditating on these two first lessons of geography and biology, we will realize that we are nothing actually. We have just been sent here and we should do whatever is expected of us in this world and leave aside. We cannot regulate anything here. There's a big regulator who does everything, who regulates the stars, and who regulates the water cycle, and who regulates the wind cycles, who regulates the births and deaths of the humans, and everything which is happening here is happening because of that regulator. So once we get these two lessons, our ego will start diminishing. We will start realizing our real place in this universe. And that will help us in controlling our ego, controlling our arrogance. I think that is very, very important lesson which we should draw from this chapter, chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita. And then once we are able to control our ego and our arrogance, then automatically the calm, krodh, and lobh, the desires, the anger, and the greed will diminish. And that is the way we can conduct ourselves in a better way. We can conduct in a more civilized, more ethical, more moral way in our life. So Lord Krishna is saying that काम, क्रोध and लोभ, ये तीन प्रकार के नरक के द्वार ये आत्मा का नाश करते हैं. आत्मा का नाश करते हैं means you forget your own self and you are under the control of these three, that you all the time have desires. When they are not fulfilled or there are some hurdles on the way, you become angry. And when they are fulfilled, you become greedy. So all this process overtakes your own being. You forget about your being, that you are in existence. You are separate from all that. You forget about all that and you become totally engaged in calm, krodh, and lobh. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying. Atma ka nash ka means Atma is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. It only means that you forget about the self and you remain constantly under the influence of these calm, krodh, and lobh forgetting your real self. That is what it means. And then naturally, if you are under the influence of calm, growth, and love throughout your life, then you will be again born in a very low category, in a very degraded state, and you will continue to suffer life after life. That is what Lord Krishna is saying. If you look at the real world, what we do, if you have desires, if you don't have desires, people will say this is not a human being. If you don't get angry, oh, he has no life at all. And then if he has no greed, then what kind of person he is? This is how we look at the world today. The good people are actually not appreciated. They are looked down. This is how the world is. The world actually looks down on those people who are able to control their desires, who are able to control their anger, and who are not greedy. They, you will find this is the normal behavior. This person is not angry at all. What has happened to him? He's not a human being. When you have these calm, growth, and love, people say, oh, this is human. This is how it should be. But that is not true. The truth is that you will become a real good human being, an elevated soul, only if you are able to control these three. And you will be able to control these three if you are able to subdue your ego and your arrogance. And that is possible through the two chapters, first chapters of geography and first chapter of biology. Now, next, verse number 22. हे अर्जुन, इन तीनों नरक के द्वारों से मुक्त पुरुष अपने कल्याण का आचरण करता है. तीनों नरक के द्वार, काम, क्रोध एंड लोभ, these are narak ke dwar. Narak means not a place where you go, but a kind of situation in which you actually suffer, in which you are made to suffer, your sufferings. So all these three will made you to pass through the sufferings. So that is what narak ka dwar. That if you continue to remain kami, if you continue to remain greedy, if you continue to become angry, then you are actually creating unhappiness for yourself. You are creating innumerable sufferings in your own life. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying. What he means by narak ke dwar means you are creating your own sufferings and miseries. Your life will become more and more miserable if you continue to remain trapped into these three situations. And those people who are able to free themselves from calm, क्रोध, and love, they are actually elevating themselves. Kalyan ka acharan, the conduct which will, uplift you, which will energize you, which will raise your consciousness, which will actually unite you with the supreme consciousness. So that conduct will happen only when we leave these three gates of miseries, three gates of sufferings, and these three gates are linked to the three words which have been used earlier in this chapter, that is uh, man, abhiman, and what you call, you pretend which you are not. Dong, man, and abhiman. So this is what we should do. And those people who are able to subdue all these three elements, calm, क्रोध, and love, then he is able to attain me. Paramgati. Paramgati is basically means the ultimate goal of life. the ultimate, or you can call it the climax of our existence. And that climax is to unite with the Supreme. So that is what happens once we are able to regulate these three evils of our life. Now, verse number 23. जो पुरुष शास्त्र विधि को त्याग कर अपनी इच्छा से मनमाना आचरण करता है, वह न सिद्धि को प्राप्त होता है, न परम गति को और न सुख को ही. नाउ शास्त्र विधि. Shastra Vidhi is Shastra is a very profound word. We talk about this every day, but we don't know what it is. Now, there's another word in Sanskrit which is close to it called Shastra. Now, Shastra is basically an arm. Shastra is designed to destroy your enemies. It's an arm through which you destroy your enemies. That is done outside, enemies which are outside. Shastra is an arm which you use to destroy your enemies inside yourself. You use this equipment to destroy like Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad. These things are destroyed through with the help of Shastra. Now, what is Shastra? Shastra is basically the experience narrated by the saints over centuries, perhaps over millennia, which has been put down in words by somebody later on. It is also called Sruti, that those people who got united with the Supreme, they narrated their experience and somebody else jotted that experience down. That is why it is called Sruti. But this experience which has been given to the posterity by those saints can be used by us to follow the noble path. Because in this life, you cannot experiment everything. If you start experimenting with everything, this life is very short. In the childhood, you can do nothing. In the youth, you are, having a different energy altogether. You are lost somewhere else because the flow of energy is so strong that you are not under your own control. And then when you are about 45, 50 years of age, then you start realizing that I should learn something. And then you start experimenting. How many things can you experiment in the short span of life? If you start experimenting with everything, this life is very, very short. And that is why in every field of life, we inherit certain things, we learn certain things from our predecessors. Like in the school, we learn from the school books, or the teacher tells you the history. Now, everybody cannot go and, examine the history on their own. How do you do that? Even geography, for example, if you want to go to the world and see how the world is, how the earth is, whether it's round or not, whether the America exists somewhere or not, whether India is where, whether Kerala is where. If you want to go and explore and then be convinced about the existence of the geography, then you cannot do in not even one, but not even 100 lifetimes. If you want to, burn your finger and then feel that the fire actually burns, then you will have to burn your finger. If you, somebody tells you that poison can kill you, but you don't want to believe him, so you take the poison and you kill yourself, and then you start experimenting. So you cannot experiment with everything. You have to learn 95% of the things in life from the knowledge which has accumulated over time, which has been given to you. Whether it is in the school, whether it is in the house, whether it is with the nature, And the same is true with your own self. The knowledge of the self is in the Shastras. How you can elevate your own consciousness is the knowledge which is called spirituality. Spirituality is raising your consciousness to a higher level where you become universe in your own self. Your own self becomes Brahmand. Your own self becomes Parmeshwar. That is why in Vedas, the Mahavakya tells you, Aham Brahmasmi, because you can elevate yourself to the status of Brahma. You can elevate yourself as Parmeshwar, as Paramatma, by following the path in the Shastras. Because this path has been described by those saints who actually traversed that route. Like if you go and travel physically, like if I go and travel from my house to Galtaji, then I can tell the people that this is the route to reach Galtaji. These are the landmarks on the way. This is the distance. These are the hurdles you will face. That would be a truthful description. I've never been to Galtaji and I keep guiding people, then that is not correct. So this Shastra is written by those people or narrated by those people who have actually experienced that path. And therefore, we must follow that path of Shastra. That is why Lord Krishna is saying here, जो पुरुष शास्त्र विधि को त्याग कर अपनी इच्छा से मनमाना आचरण करता है. So if you want to do your own conduct as you feel like, which will be driven by your calm, krodh and lobh, then naturally you are on a wrong path. You have to follow the path which has been told to us by the saints who have passed through that process and who have narrated their experience sometime in the past, which has been written down. Whether it is in the form of Vedas or Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or any other form, that knowledge is helpful. Why are we reading Bhagavad Gita? We are reading Bhagavad Gita because the experience which has been narrated here, the verses tell you what should be done in life, how you can regulate your sufferings, how you can manage your life in a better way, how you can be happy, and how you can be in union with the Supreme. Now that has been narrated here. That is why we are reading it. That is why we are trying to understand it. That is why we are trying to follow it in our life. So that is what Shastra is. So we must follow the Shastra Vidhi and we should not do things on our own because we cannot experiment with everything in life. If we start doing it, even million years will not be enough. And that is why we should follow the wisdom left by our ancestors for us. And that wisdom is enshrined in these Shastras. Now, verse number 24, this is the last verse of this chapter. इससे तेरे लिए इस कर्तव्य और अकर्तव्य की व्यवस्था में शास्त्र ही प्रमाण है. ऐसा जानकर तू शास्त्र विधि से नियत कर्म करने के योग्य है. कर्तव्य और अकर्तव्य, that is the state of dilemma. You don't know what to do, what not to do. And we have these moments in our life every single day, many times. Many times. If you look at your daily routine, you will find that every single day there are several moments where you are in a dilemma what to do and what not to do. Let me give you an example. Now, somebody comes to your house unannounced and he knocks at the door. Now you are in dilemma whether we should open the door, whether we should allow him inside or not. If we allow, then what we should do, how we should manage him. A very simple thing which happens. When you are going to, attend some event outside, you feel what kind of clothing I should wear, what kind of gift I should carry, whether I should take this or that, whether I should wear this or that, even for the food, whether I should eat this food or that food. So we are constantly in dilemma. In every step of our life, we are in dilemma. And with that dilemma, we can overcome by following what has been told to us by the wise people in Shastras. Now, about the food, for example, the Ayurveda tells us this is what you should eat in the winter season. Now, this is winter, and therefore you should eat this kind of food, this kind of food. You should take more milk, you should take, you know, heavier food. In India, for example, here we make laddus. eh, in the summertime, okay, you should take more salad, you should take more yogurt. So that kind of thing. Now that has been prescribed in the Shastras. That is also a Shastra. Ayurveda is also a Shastra. So the food is prescribed there. And we follow that routine. If you start experimenting with every single food ourselves, we can never reach a conclusion and we will be completely lost. Similarly, here the reference to Shastra is the Adhyatmic knowledge, the knowledge of the self, how I upgrade myself, how I raise my consciousness, how I expand my own self. That expansion process, when the one single person becomes Brahma, that process of expansion is written in the Shastras. And Lord Krishna is saying that whenever you have any dilemma in life, whether I should do this act or I should not do this act, whether, you know, in what quantum I should do, in what quantum I should not do, in what quality I should do, what quality I should not do, all those dilemmas can be resolved if we follow the arrangements which have been told in Shastras. So that is why we should give importance to what is written in Bhagavad Gita or what is written in Upanishad, because these are the words of those wise people who have actually traversed that route, who have gone through that process, and who are narrating their, you know, individual experiences which we should follow. Now, here, before I conclude this, I would also like to add one or two words more. All these Shastras which have been written, they are actually in the form of sutras. We call them sutra. Sutra number one, sutra number two. In every scripture, here, like we call it slok 1, but actually it is sutra 1, sutra 2. Now, sutra is actually a what you call a very short version of the knowledge. The knowledge, if it is expounded, it becomes very big, it becomes large, it takes volumes of writing, and therefore it is described in a very short form, and that short form is called sutra. And then we have what you call explanations. Explanations are given by those people who understand those sutras. Like this word Shastra, what does it mean? We need to expand on it. Or we need to expand on the word lobh. What does it mean? That you get 1 rupee and you want to have two more, and then you get 10 rupees and you want to have 100 more, then you get 100 rupees, then you want to have 10,000 or then 1 lakh. So the greed is that process. So there are people who can explain you each and every sutra contained in these shastras. And therefore, that is why we need these explanations. That is why we need to read the what you call commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, commentaries of the wise people. See, like Arvindo has written commentary, or Tilak has written commentary, or Shankaracharya has written commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Those commentaries are there because these sutras need to be explained in proper language for ordinary citizens like us who do not have the clue to understand the sutras properly. And that is why we need to understand this Bhagavad Gita properly through explanations. And this is not only true with that, it's also true with other writings like Upanishads. We do not understand Upanishads properly unless we, read, good commentaries on Upanishads. So this is another thing which we need to understand with respect to Shastras. That Shastras are mostly in abbreviation form, and those abbreviations need to be properly explained and understood through the commentaries which have been given by the wise people over the period of time. So, this is what we should do. We should understand this knowledge. We should try to meditate on this knowledge and then try to improve on our own conduct by utilizing the knowledge enshrined in these Shastras. So, this is what chapter 16 is telling us, that let us properly understand the knowledge left behind by the wise people in the past. They have told us the path trodden by them, their own experiences, and we can benefit with that experience by elevating our own life to that level. So let us do this exercise, particularly today's Gita Jayanti. Let us take a vow that we will try to understand this knowledge properly and improve our own conduct accordingly. So, with these words, I conclude this chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, and I'm sure we will continue to debate, we will continue to meditate over many of these sutras subsequently in our personal life and also collectively. Thank you very much for joining, and I wish you the very best on the Gita Jayanti Day, which is a very special occasion, particularly for all of us as we are following the sutras of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you.